Om. 10 Commandments, the Principles of Arya Samaj, Part 20. The seventh principle, the duty of love. Section A. Let thy dealings with all be regulated by love and justice, in accordance with the dictates of Dharma.
ॐ प्रियं मा कृणु देवेषु प्रियं राजसु मा कृणु प्रियं सर्वस्य पश्यत उत शूद्रे उतार्ये.
Make me beloved of the Brahmanas, make me beloved of the Kshatriyas, beloved of all that see, of the Shudra and of the Vaishya. Atharva Ved. The keynote of human behavior, love. The behavior of the Arya Samajist towards his fellow beings is to be regulated according to this principle. The dominant feeling which will characterize all his dealings with others is to be that of love. He cannot, as has been taught in the last principle, help in promoting the welfare of the world unless his general attitude towards other creatures than himself be that of deep sympathy, of close fellow feeling. It should always be his endeavor to mentally substitute his own person for those with whom he is dealing, so as to be able to gauge their feelings at a particular juncture by what should have been his own feelings if he were similarly situated. This is the golden rule of interhuman and interanimal conduct. Love seasoned with propriety. Lest love should become a morbidity, a few riders are attached to it. We read of men whom the popular mind honors and adores as saints, having lost all balance and capability of action when in the sight of erring fellow beings. Overwhelmed with feeling, their mind has found shelter immediately in tears. In not a few cases, this outburst of profound pathos has succeeded in reclaiming the lost lamb, but instances are equally numerous or even more frequent where the mark has been overshot. Incidents are related from the lives of sadhus who have gone a step further in charity, inasmuch as they have offered their all to a thief who had, because of a sudden still or some other unexpected exigency, failed of his criminal errand. The disappointment this failure will cause to a fellow human being has gone deep into the mind of the bhakta owner, who, intolerant of such a mishap to a human brother, has gone after him to give him the prize, which his miscarried quest has not succeeded in gaining. Conversations as a result of this method of apparently human conduct are reported to have taken place. These, however, if the solicitude of the saint not disappoint a human brother was genuine, are only chance occurrences, credit for which should have belonged to the Maldin Bhakta only if he had himself intended the reformation of his misguided brother. We are concerned in cases of virtuous behavior more with the intention of the person concerned than with how he conducts himself practically. If the offering of goods were a deliberate attempt to bring about redemption of the vagrant youth, the whole incident would acquire a new orientation. As the case stands, such gratuitous love cannot be ethically praised or recommended to others for imitation. More serious than deprivation of material booty should, in the eyes of a lover of human beings, be perversity of a fellow human being's character. Various, indeed, are the ways to bring about the litter's reformation. Different temperaments will require different remedies. Exigencies of every individual case should be met by means which suit that case. Showing indulgence where indignation would be the proper attitude, showering favors where punishment would be the appropriate instrument of reform is to be plain abusing of love. Brahmana, the paragon of love. The attitude at every juncture should be determined also by the character of the parties. It is character which determines, if not the occupation of a man, his place at any rate in society. According to the Aryan system, the community should be divided into four classes. At the head come Brahmanas, men of learning and peace. These it is that have the highest qualifications, mental and moral, but who, being actuated instinctively by the motive of service of their fellow beings, have taken a vow of voluntary poverty. They are the most potent agency of reform, and their method is love. They feel with the delinquent, but not with his delinquency. The fact not of the disappointment of a thief, but that of his vitiated mentality that has prompted him to such a perverse course of conduct makes them feel deeply concerned. They may offer to share with him their whole possessions, not that the greedy proclivities of his nature may have undue satisfaction, but that he may look beyond the contemptible considerations of mere ownership, earned or unearned. The possibility of bringing a culprit to book legally is not outside the pale of their judicious conception, though generally they should not resort to this executive method of reform. For themselves, if they be guilty of a similar deed, the punishment is to be very severe. But here too, the measure of severity is not the physical form in which the penalty is administered, but the mental pain it inflicts. Highly refined natures are sensitive even to the fact of punishment. In their case, you simply declare that they are guilty and you have meted out to them an adequate penalty. Where you find the perversity is more profound, you deal severely even in outward form. The function of the Brahmana. The function of the Brahmana in society is that of teacher, legislator, politician, and judge. Being intellectually the flower of the community, he is eminently fitted for offices from which he will give his community the lead in moral, spiritual, social, and political matters. The laws he will frame are bound to be just. Intellectually, he is an aristocrat, economically the poorest of the poor. He knows the necessities of the aristocracy and is daily experiencing in his own person the hardships of the poor. Labor and capital have found a concrete via media in him. For the same reason, too, he will be the best arbitrator. Having abjured wealth, he will have not the least bias towards the moneyed class. Possessing a high mental caliber on account of which he is conscious of the rights and necessities of capital, he will not be unjustly prejudiced against the bania. The duty of the physician and surgeon is also reserved for the Brahmana. In order to render impossible the exploitation of the physical ills of fellow human beings, if addicted to a life of luxury, the doctor will, of necessity, pamper the vitiated tastes of the vicious, wealthy, neglecting the genuine need of the poor, whose disease, as it has sprung out of want or incidental injury to the system from uncontrollable circumstances in or outside the body, deserves the ministrations of the righteously inclined medical man first. The fee first physician, however, has an eye not on the moral merit of his patient to a healed, healthy life, but on the length of his purse, commensurately with which lengthens the list of intemperances and deceits, engendering immoralities both past and future. The Brahmana doctor, on the other hand, looks on his profession by reason of his vow to lead an austere life as a sacred opportunity of service. He can afford to forego high fees as he needs very little for the satisfaction of his physical wants. He can impose a regime of temperance and moderation on his patients, however rich and high pleased, as he ogles not at their riches. He can enforce morals and come to the aid of his genuinely needy, that is, the poor, or even rich people that have fallen ill because of a sudden mishap or conscious or unconscious negligence and are ready now to abide by the rules of health and hygiene. The patient came to a physician for treatment feels in the presence not of a dependent but of one superior to himself whose commands have got to be obeyed. This gives a new tone to the society's notions of the necessity of preserving health and observing rules even of private personal morality. Continued.